Suga's tears and Jungkook's fight for justice in the Korean military. This shocking case exposed the dark side of South Korea's military system. What is Jungkook's fate now? Check out the full story. Shocking news came from the South Korean military environment, shaking millions of BTS fans around the world. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS who is currently serving in the military, was reportedly bullied by his seniors in the military unit. This incident not only caught the attention of fans but also exposed the dark side of the military's hierarchical system that has long been criticized. Meanwhile, Suga, Jungkook's group mate and close friend who is also serving in the military, was unable to contain his emotions after hearing the news. This news first surfaced after the military gave an official statement about Jungkook's condition, who was being treated at a military hospital. In the statement, they mentioned that Jungkook was under pressure from the hierarchical dynamics that are common in the military. However, instead of solving the problem, the statement drew public anger. What happened to Jungkook? Jungkook, known by the nickname Golden Machina for his exceptional talent, was assigned as a cook in his military unit. It was a simple job but one that he carried out with great responsibility. However, behind that, Jungkook was the victim of repeated bullying by his seniors. Reports say that the bullying was not only verbal, but also continuous psychological pressure. Jungkook was often insulted in front of his military peers, his duties as a cook were mocked, and he was even forced to work overtime for no apparent reason. An anonymous source from Jungkook's military unit revealed to the media, Jungkook never complained, he was just trying to do his job. But I can see that the treatment is slowly destroying him. Suga's emotional reaction. Suga, who is currently serving in the same military unit as Jungkook, was unable to hide his emotions. During an internal military meeting, Suga reportedly gave a very stern response. If this is how you build character, then the system has failed. Nothing can be built by breaking someone's heart, Suga told military officials, as reported by local media. Suga, who is usually known as a calm and introspective person, was visibly emotional in the face of this case. He also urged decisive action to protect their juniors from the toxic system. Call for justice. After the news broke, BTS fans, known as ARMY, immediately took action. Social media was filled with hashtags such as #JusticeForJungkook and #ProtectOurBTS. Not only fans, human rights activists in South Korea also spoke out, calling for reforms to the military system, which has been deemed too hierarchical and prone to allowing bullying to occur. We hold the military fully responsible for this case. There is no place for violence in any system, including the military, a human rights activist said in an interview with local media. However, the South Korean military issued a statement that made the situation worse. They said that what happened to Jungkook was part of the adaptation process in the military environment. This statement immediately sparked a wave of protests, with many seeing it as a defense of bullying culture. What's next for Jungkook? Currently, Jungkook is still undergoing treatment at a military hospital, but his future in the military is a big question mark. Many are pushing for him to get special protection or even be exempted from military duty due to his health condition. Meanwhile, Suga, despite the pressure, continued to show his support for Jungkook. In a co-authored letter to BTS management, he called for the agency to give full support to Jungkook and push for a transparent resolution of the case. However, the question remains. Will this case bring about real change in the South Korean military system? Or will it just be a momentary news story that will soon be forgotten? In the days since the news broke, public pressure on the South Korean military has increased. Hashtags such as #JusticeForJungkook and #MilitaryReform now continue to dominate social media trends, signaling that global attention to this case has not subsided. Armies around the world are uniting to put pressure not only on the military, but also on the South Korean government to take concrete steps. Questionable investigation process. The military finally announced that they would conduct a thorough investigation into the case. However, public skepticism about the transparency of this process is high. Many believe that the investigation was only conducted to quell public outrage without actually addressing the root of the problem. In a recent statement, a military official said, "We are committed to seeking the truth in this case and ensuring that all parties involved are held accountable." However, as of now, there are no further details on the steps that will be taken to protect Jungkook or change the system that allows cases like this to happen. Suga's firm stance. Suga, who has been one of the central figures in the fight for justice for Jungkook, has again shown remarkable courage. In an internal meeting with top military officials, he loudly questioned the integrity of the existing system. "I stand here not just for Jungkook, but for everyone who has no voice in the face of this injustice. If this system doesn't change, more people will get hurt. And if the military doesn't act, then the public will continue to hold them accountable," Suga said, as reported by local media. Suga's firm stance has been praised by many. He not only showed concern as a senior in BTS, but also as someone who fights for justice for all. Jungkook's current condition. Meanwhile, Jungkook's condition is reportedly starting to improve physically, but the psychological pressure he is experiencing is a serious concern. A source close to BTS mentioned that Jungkook was devastated not only because of the treatment he received, but also because of the guilt he felt for the immense attention he received. "He has always been a strong person, but this time he feels like he has let everyone down, despite the fact that he is a victim," the source said. Will the system change? Jungkook's case has sparked a national discussion in South Korea about the need for reform in the military system. Many politicians and human rights activists have begun to voice support for removing the toxic hierarchical culture in the military. However, as has often been the case in many previous cases, there is still concern that once the public outcry subsides, the issue will be forgotten without any real change. The fight isn't over. Suga and Army continue to ensure that this fight does not stop halfway. They believe that what happened to Jungkook is part of a larger problem, and only with systemic reforms can similar cases be prevented in the future. Suga's powerful message to the public is an important reminder. It's not just about us, it's about everyone who has to live under an unjust system. We must continue to speak out, because if we remain silent, nothing will change. The case is not only a pivotal moment in BTS' journey, but also a symbol of the fight against systemic injustice. Will this be the beginning of real change, or will it be another story that sinks into the archives of time? Only time will tell. However, one thing is certain. The fight for justice for Jungkook will not stop until justice is truly served.